So, hello everyone. I am Bavo, founder and manager of opdrachten.be, platform for freelance work in Flanders, and I'm very happy that you're watching this presentation about some advice that I would like to give you and some tricks to find more and new work as a freelancer. Finding freelance assignments is actually a quite obvious subject because it's the engine of your freelance business. I think we all agree on that. It's the element that enables you to generate an income, but it's always a very important subject to keep in mind on the way you find your freelance assignments, even for freelancers that are currently having enough or even too much work. It's always interesting to keep some tips and some tricks in mind on how they can organize their prospection. There are a lot of ways you can find new freelance assignments, but actually in this presentation I want to talk especially about the behavior that you should have as a freelancer when you do prospection. And I'm going to use for that a metaphor that comes from animal life. I'm going to use a metaphor of a bearded dragon on the one hand and an eagle on the other hand to define two types of behavior that you should or can have as a freelancer when you look for new work. Now we are living, you all know that, some strange periods right now with the crisis of COVID. And then actually I'm going to intentionally not talk too much about COVID-19 today or about the economic situation, because actually the advice and tricks I'm going to give you are useful in any situation. That means in a non-crisis situation or even in a crisis situation. What might change in both cases is the intensity in which you do your prospection. The bearded dragon, if you analyze the behavior, how this animal hunts for food, you might think that it's actually quite a lazy animal. You know, it just sits back there, waits for crickets and insects to pass by, and only when he sees them in his scope, he will attack them for food. And this brings me to the first type of behavior you can have as a freelancer. It's a more passive way of finding new freelance assignments. Actually, hunting like a bearded dragon is not something you decide to do, but someone you decide to be. And there are different ways in which you can like be present or visible to potential clients without necessarily proactively doing things or moving physically to places to find new customers. And actually I have two big categories under this passive way, let's call it this way, this bearded dragon way of finding new clients. The first one is your digital, or it can even be physical, presence on places, platforms, social media, where your name pops up without you having to necessarily be there or do something. I'm going to give you a few examples. For example, and that's something I see every day because I'm managing a freelance platform, it's having a profile on job platforms. Being visible to potential clients is like a kind of passive way of showing yourself. It could be also participating in discussions. I remember I've been working as a freelance copywriter myself. And I remember a few years ago, I was invited to an online seminar. And the only thing that was, I was a participant. So I wasn't an organizer, nothing else. Well, I was one of the 50 participants. And the only thing that popped up was my name as a participant. And so Bavo Verstraeten, and then copywriter next to that. And during that seminar, actually somebody saw that, and he happened to look for a copywriter on that moment. So I happened to be on the right time in the right place. And afterwards, he called me and said, "You know what? I have this project for you. Can I work with you as a copywriter?" So of course I said yes, and I started working for them. And actually, he gave me throughout the years, he generated more work for me. He gave me new clients. So this was I was somehow lucky to be there. and be able to, even if it was in a very passive way, be able to get this new client thanks to my participation. There are even more traditional ways. It doesn't have to be necessarily online or digital, where you have more traditional ways. I, for example, think about a banner on your car can sometimes be a very nice method of finding new freelance assignments. So physical and digital exposure without you having to be there. LinkedIn profile is also a very important one, I think. Making sure that when people visit your LinkedIn profile, that you clearly show them who you are, what you do, what your experience is, so that they don't have to ask too many questions, or it's very obvious for them how you could potentially help them. So physical and digital exposure, even if it's in a passive way. The other category of hunting like a bearded dragon is, and that's more outside the business context, but I very strongly believe in referrals from friends, family, can even be neighbors, actually people who know you personally, not necessarily in a business context, but who know who you are, what activity you do, and for whom you do it, who is your target group. I know a few freelancers in my network who regularly find new freelance assignments because they are referred to a family member, a neighbor. So don't think that people even outside the business context are not interested in your activity, in what you do. This can be an additional way of finding freelance assignments. And something that doesn't fit into these two categories, but in which, even if it's in a passive way, in which I very strongly believe, is collaborations and exchange deals between freelancers. As a freelancer, you're always on your own, or most of the time. And I think that if you can look for a fellow freelancer who does not, of course, necessarily do the same activity as you, but if you can create partnerships with somebody who has complementary profile, it can create new business as well. For example, because I'm a copywriter myself, I know that some colleagues of mine, freelance copywriters, they often work, have a fixed contact person who is a freelance graphic designer. And why? It's quite intelligent, because a lot of projects where clients need a copywriter, this same client will at the same time also need a graphic designer, because text and image and visual design often go together. So a lot of freelance copywriters, they have immediately a graphic designer they can propose to their client as well. So exchange deals between freelancer, this is something I think you should look for it and see what in my business, my client, what other profiles would he potentially need. Look for these freelancers, talk with them. It can be also an agreement on a commission-based agreement where you give business to each other with a percentage. So I very strongly believe in this system. Now, these are rather, the things I've been talking about now are rather passive ways in which you can do your prospection. But like a general advice on how to hunt for freelance assignments like a bearded dragon is make a list for yourself. Write down all the places, all the potential people that you can contact, just to tell them what you do, who you are. It can be a cousin who lives on the other side of the country, who is working in a company that could be a target company for you. So make a list for yourself of all the potential places and relevant places for you. It could be the local supermarket as well. Write down, make a list for yourself, and start with the most relevant ones, most obvious ones. and like make it like a sort of checklist. And every week, for example, you can like tick off a few of the places and people, or you can add them when the new opportunity pops up. One more last thing. Why is this important? I think this passive way of doing prospection is that very often when you should put yourself in potential clients' head, and very often when a client is looking for a freelancer like you, he or she is already having a very urgent need. I think you all recognize that when you have a potential customer calling you. It's often not for a project that will take place in 1 year. It's rather a project that will take place next week or even yesterday. So a potential customer who is looking for a freelancer often doesn't have time to like start looking everywhere. So make sure that your name and your activity pops up when he is immediately looking for it on the internet, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and that he receives referrals with your name when he contacts people. I think that's very important. Our second animal of today, I'm going to show you. It's an eagle. The eagle is what I call a state of acting. So we had our bearded dragon, which is more someone you try to be. An eagle is much more active in his hunt for food. Now, this is what I call the very active prospection for clients. The first advice I would like to give you is do not look too far in the first place. Often when I meet freelancers and I ask them, like, how do you organize your prospection? Very often freelancers who start their freelance career, they like come up with this very extremely creative, often very nice ideas. But actually when sometimes they're thinking too far. And I think you should start like the eagle hunts for his food in his own habitat. Start looking for potential customers where on the most obvious place, and that's in your own business habitat. And for some people, this can be a very large network. For some freelancers, it could be more limited, but start with them. And actually, I have two kind of target groups, which almost every freelancer has in his habitat. And it's on the one hand, it's your own customers, the customers you already work for. And on the other hand, your suppliers. Why are your own customers so important for you? A very recent freelancer focus report from Unizo in Flanders states that 59% of the freelancers, which is a huge amount, a huge percentage, 59% of them finds new work, new clients through or via thanks to their existing clients. It's a lot. So that means that your own customers, the ones you already have, are a very important target group. On the one hand, to give you more work for those same clients, but on the other hand, also to give you referrals to other potential customers. And I think it's very, very important to keep on communicating with your clients. Sometimes I meet freelancers who say, I have 3 clients right now with I work for, but actually I should have more clients. And they immediately start looking outside this habitat for clients. And I say, no, look at these 3 customers, see how can they potentially give you more work. How could they potentially introduce you to new companies? Maybe they partner with companies which are interesting for you as well. First, look that way. And that's why I always, say to these freelancers, it's very important that you talk to your customers very regularly. Inform them about new services that you offer. Inform them when you finished a new training, when you have a new degree in something. You can do it personally. You can do it through newsletters. I mean, there are so many tools today communicate with your customers, but make sure that they, I would almost say on a daily basis, think about you at least once a day. A few years ago, a customer of mine told me, you know, Bavo, the day I'm going to start worrying about our collaboration will be the day that you are going to stop asking your daily annoying question. And it sounds a little bit funny, but my customer said, you know, if you stop doing that, then I know that you in some way stopped being involved in my work, in my business, in my projects. And this is also a customer that's already did some referrals for me in the past. So communicate to your existing customers and be very honest with them. You know, ask them. You know, hey, Jack, I saw on Facebook that you are working together with company X or I. Could you in some way introduce my services to that company? You always have a no, but you can get a yes if you ask the question. So own customers, very important target group. Then you have the suppliers, and that's something that's not all companies or freelancers automatically think about, but I think there could be some opportunities when contacting your own suppliers. And I've got a very nice story to tell you, and it's not an advice I'm going to give you to do literally, but it's more the mindset I would like to show you. And it's an anecdote from a friend of mine, a business consultant in Brussels, a freelancer as well. And on a, I think it was on a Tuesday, he got a phone call from a commercial salesperson from NG Electrabel, the electrical company here in Belgium. And you know, who try to sell you these contracts, and this commercial person, you know, well, hey, I'm from NG Electrabel, and I would like to make an analysis of your electrical consummation, and let's see if we can, if you want to become customer of NG Electrabel, we have an interesting package for you. Of course, as I do as well, very often 99% of the freelancers, they just say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, and they say nothing, they just put down the phone. But this business consultant had a very creative idea, and he said, you know what, you can come over to my office, it's okay. You can make an analysis of my energy and my bills, and if you have an interesting offer, I'm going to become your client, but on one condition, and that's that you give me a referral to the board of directors of NG Electrabel. And this commercial person happened to have a contact via to go to the board of directors of NG Electrabel, and that's what happened. The business consultant became a client of NG Electrabel because he received an interesting offer. He got his referral to the board of directors. You can already imagine what happens. It's of course it's a story with a happy end, otherwise I wouldn't tell you. But he got an invitation for a pitch. I think it was after 1 year, and he won this pitch. So he won new freelance assignment in this big company. So as I said, it's not something you should always do when you get a call from a commercial person, but it's more to show you the mindsets you should have as a freelancer, that even ask questions to your suppliers, even if it's sometimes a very superficial contact you might have with them. You never know what they can do for you. You're their customers, so they can do not be afraid to have a conversation with them about your business and how they could support you in your business. Now that's what I call the own habitat. So own customers and suppliers as two important target groups. There could be other target groups in your habitat as well. So this own habitat is very important. But sometimes, of course, an eagle has to fly away and look for a mouse, maybe not on the other end of the world, but a little bit further. And that's what we call the cold prospection. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm absolutely not a specialist in cold prospection or cold calling, as we call it in business. But there is one thing I can give you as an advice. There is often the question, like, as a freelancer, if you don't like doing your sales yourself, or you don't have this sales drive, you're perfect in your job, but you don't have you don't like doing the sales for yourself. The question is often, can you outsource this part of the prospection to someone? And I believe that you should be the one who does the calls, or at least the contact yourself. So that means that you are the one who is finally going to do this cold prospection. But you can, and I would advise you to do it. You can prepare your pitch, you can prepare the conversations. You can practice them with somebody else. And there are a lot of great freelancers. I have a few in my network as well who do this sales coaching. And if you don't have the budget for that, because I know a lot of freelancers say, well, okay, a sales coach, it costs a lot of money. And it's true, they do very often. But try to look for a deal with them. Maybe you are a graphic designer or a web developer, and you can provide a service to somebody who can help you prepare your sales pitch. So even if you are the one who's going to call potential customers, you can prepare your pitch and the way you have to talk to potential customers by using the advice of somebody who's very good in this domain, doing sales and cold prospection. So I think hunting like an eagle and prospecting, first of all, starts in your own habitat, your own customers, your suppliers, if there is an opportunity to do business with them. And for cold prospection, ask advice on the way you prepare your cold prospection to somebody who's very good at this. Now we have our bearded dragon on the one hand, and we have our eagle on the other hand. The question now is on how do you organize, your search for new freelance assignments, and then how do you have to be? Do you have to be more an eagle? Do you have to be more a bearded dragon? In business, you often hear, and when you talk about sales and prospection, you often hear a lot of percentages or of your time or the number of hours per week you should spend on prospection. I'm not going to give you an advice on that, because I think it's very personal. If you're fully booked until the end of the year, it's quite logical that you have to spend less time on hunting like an eagle than somebody who's just starting his freelance career and who still needs this a boost of new freelance assignments. So this is something very personal. It depends also on the industry and so on. But I think that in some way you can make things very concrete for yourself. And what do I mean by that? You should show both types of behaviors. And as I already told in the beginning of this presentation, make a list for yourself. Make a list for yourself on how, on the one hand, you can hunt for freelance assignments in a passive way. So be visible on places, letting people know what you can do. And on the other hand, making a list of hunting like an eagle, hunting in the active way. Who are the customers which potentially have more work for you? Who are the customers who still don't know about this new service that you have? Make a list for yourself of your suppliers. And I think if you do that for yourself, write this down for yourself. And I think if you do that, it's gonna make things easier for yourself to see where can I potentially get more freelance assignments. because that's what it's all about. In the end of the day, you just you want new work, you want to get paid for this work. That's the whole purpose of being a freelancer. But to make things visible for yourself, so on the one hand passive way, on the other hand active way, I think it's going to help you to optimize your time investment as well, on both sides. Some people will feel more comfortable hunting like a bearded dragon, doing it the passive way. Other ones will feel more comfortable doing it in the active way. And it's for yourself. You can switch actually. One week you can like be more active, on the other week you can be more passive. But write it down for yourself. That's really the advice I would like to give you. And one last thing, even if you forget everything I told you during this presentation, just remember this: be a very alert bearded dragon. Hunt like a creative eagle, but never become a stupid monkey. I just want to end with this metaphor that comes from animal life. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to share some more thoughts on how finding freelance assignments. And I wish you a very good day. Thank you.